How to own a freehold land in Ghana as a non-Ghanaian. If this is your first time, kindly subscribe to the channel. A lot of people in the diaspora are actually pissed off because they have learned that Ghana does not allow them to own a property forever. And they are very pissed off. Why is this so? Why? So, and to some extent, some people have genuine concerns, and some people have raised genuine, questions that needs to be addressed. However, others I have actually taken advantage of this to make degrading statements. As you already know, if moving to Ghana, we have people who already hate Ghana, whether they are black, they are chocolate, or whatever. They just don't like Ghana, so they take advantage of some of these things to undertake propaganda and just try to tarnish, and you understand. So these things, they happen. Yep. So in this video, I actually want to share with you 4 ways you can actually own a property or a land or a house in Ghana for a very long time. And I'm going to start it from a perspective of being a non-Ghanaian to a perspective of being a Ghanaian, and actually getting to the highest level where you can own it as a freehold. I hope you understand. But before we go, what we know according to law in the laws of Ghana is that a Ghanaian or someone who was born and has Ghanaian citizenship can own a property, either land or a house, for a very long time, as long as 99 years. Yeah. And a non-Ghanaian can own a property for 50 years. So that looks like half of what a natural or a Ghanaian own. I hope you understand. So this seems kind of unfair to people from diaspora. I hope you understand. But notwithstanding, the most important thing a person has to do is, instead of complaining and looking at this as a way that will discourage you from coming to Ghana, no, you need to look at it from a different perspective of how can you take advantage of this law, and how can you also learn and adapt and live and enjoy your life in Ghana, instead of making degrading statements, or probably trying to impose your idea to the laws of Ghana. You don't have that kind of power to do that. I hope you understand. So a smart people, instead of making degrading statements, trying to insult the country, trying to say that we are suffering in America, then why we come to Africa and they treat us like this? This is no. You don't need to look at it from that perspective. We, even Ghanaians, do not own freehold properties here. So you, as a non-Ghanaian, as a smart person, what you need to do is to try to study, learn and adapt, and probably find some loopholes in the laws of Ghana that you can enjoy. That is what smart people do, instead of complaining, rants, trying to dramatize the entire issue. I hope you understand. So the first of all, the number one is that if you want to own a property in Ghana and you are buying a land or a house in Ghana, ensure that you have a lawyer who could draft or supervise the drafting of your lease agreements, and ensure that a renewal clause has been put in place in the indenture or the lease agreement. So the renewal clause is just like, okay, this land is sold to so and so for a number of years. That is like 50 years or 70 years. While when someone argued with me that it's not 50 years, it was 70 years. So whether 50 or 70 years. So after this person's period of time, he will be having the opportunity to renew his ownership of the land with the original owner. So that clause has to be put in place. So you have to first of all communicate with your lawyer that this is what you want in the agreement. And before you go and see the one who sells the land, you speak with him on that. If he agrees to sell you a land based on that, before you even contract a lawyer, and ensure that the lawyer puts in place this renewal clause. And it has to be very specific, and it has to be very clear. Don't make it like a renewal, just a renewal clause. No, ensure that a renewal is given for the same period of time. So if you bought the land for 50 years, ensure that there is a renewal clause that gives you an opportunity to renew your ownership of that property for the same period of time. So I hope you understand. So that is a smart way people who buy property in Ghana, they do. They try to include this renewal clause in it, and they succeed in doing whatever they want to do. After all, how many years are we going to live? What you everyone think about is their children and people who will inherit them. And that's also a smart move. After 50 years, when you are no more alive, your kids can also renew it. How much is it? And with this renewal clause, a lot of people look at it like it's going to be expensive, like the way they bought it. No. the law of Ghana makes it very clear that the price that the person is going to resell it to you has to be reasonable. So it has to be valued and assessed as at the time how much it costs to buy a property at that location, and considering inflation and other exchange rates, and also your relationship with the true owner, original owner. You can negotiate and beat down the price. So it has to be reasonable. If the person goes unreasonable, you can seek the assistance of the law courts. And that's a very smart way people who buy properties in Ghana do, instead of complaining. That's number two is actually becoming a citizen of Ghana. There are ways a person can become a citizen in Ghana. You don't need to necessarily have to be Ghanaian or have an ancestral, no, having an ancestral or bloodline that could trace you to Ghana is just one way. You understand? So with that one, you have a number of years. You can just apply. So is your family. You can prove if they ask you. You understand? You can prove. So with that way, you can apply as a citizen of Ghana. You can apply as a citizen of Ghana through marriage. You can become a citizen of Ghana through marriage. You can also become a citizen of Ghana through naturalization or dual citizenship. I hope you understand. So these are various ways a person could become a citizen. So what I'm saying is that you can actually become a citizen. That is the easiest and the nicest way. Instead of owning the property for 50 years, you can own it for what? 99 years. Another thing that the law also says is that you can actually form a company, you understand, or a corporate body. So with that one, your ownership in that corporate body doesn't have to exceed 40%. If it exceeds 40%, it will be regarded as a foreign-owned company. But if your ownership in the company is less than 40%, then it will be regarded as a Ghanaian-owned company. And if it is regarded as a Ghanaian-owned company, that means that if you use that to purchase a property, either a house or a land, it will forever be the property of the company for at least 99 years. I hope you understand. So you get to increase the time frame instead of 50 years. Because now it's not an individual that is buying, but it's the corporate body that is buying. Though you also have shares in that company. That also, is a smart way. Your kids can come and inherit your shares, and also, inherit the property. I hope you understand. So it's a very smart way. You can also, increase the time instead of 50 years to 99 years. Boom. So with that one, you have to ensure that you don't increase your number of shares over 40. So let's go to the last one, which is the most important. Owning a freehold property in Ghana as a non-Ghanaian. This is the last point, and it's actually a loophole in the law. Understand? The only way the law applies to you is when you have sought its consent, or someone actually took you there, or the law actually finds you and catches you. That's the only way the law gets you. So what happens is that you can actually own a property in Ghana. Maybe you've bought a land, or maybe a chief has gifted it to you, or maybe an individual has actually gifted the land to you. You don't register it. You don't consult the law. You don't have any connection with the law. You don't register the land. That way, the law has not identified you. The law has not seen you. Nobody has taken you to the law. How can the number of years apply to it? It cannot apply. This only applies to people who buy properties in the villages. You understand? Maybe they bought farmland, big farmland. They don't need to, register it at the court of law. Who gave you the property? It's the chief. So you just have to ensure a good relationship with the chief. You can own it for a very long time. Your kids can get up and own it. As far as you maintain a good relationship with With the chief. This is not illegal. This is not illegal. It's not like you are trying to do something. But buying a property in the city, you can't do that one. Because all the lands in the city of Ghana can easily be traced by the land commission to, whatever. So if you don't take it there, someone might take you there. You understand? Probably you've already raised your property on it. Someone might claim ownership, or someone might go behind you and go register the land. So it's either you take it to the lands commission, or someone might drag you, or they themselves can actually come and find you. So if in the city, you can't apply this. But if you are buying huge plot of land at very far location, which is not in the city, you don't need to register the land. The 50 years will not apply to you. 99 years will not apply to you. You are just owning it as long as you could. But the most criteria there is that you have to ensure you have good relationship with the custodians or the owners of that land. So that way you can be able to own a land for a very long time. So this the 4 ways I just shared with you. Number one is by ensuring you have a renewal clause in your lease agreement. Number two is becoming a citizen of Ghana, and I've showed you ways you can become a citizen of Ghana. Number three is establishing a company, ensuring you don't have over 40% of shares or ownership of the company. And then number four is to ensure that you did not register the land, and that gives you freehold. The other three does not give you freehold, though. The last one that gives you freehold. Thank you very much. Instead of complaining and talking plenty, please resist, learn, adapt, and probably take advantage if you find a free loophole in the laws. Thank you very much for your time. Kindly subscribe to the channel. I'm very happy to have you here. Bye bye. Salam alaikum.